You're listening to REI USA Podcast, your prime resource for genuine real estate growth. If you want to jumpstart your real estate career, whether in active or passive investing, this is the right show for you. Join professional home renovator Stacy as she talks to REI USA teachers and expert investors willing to share their tips and tricks to get started in investing, sharing actionable advice in every area of real estate, all while putting legality, habitability, and safety above everything else. Combine their unparalleled advice with your strong drive for success, and that incredible real estate fortune will be yours. Now, here's your host, Stacy.
How are you, Alice?
Hey, I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us today.
I'm trying to turn my video on. It just says that you have it paused right now.
Oh, your video? Okay, so I think we need to make you a co-host is what we need to do. There you go. Yeah, make co-host. Okay, now you should be able to turn your video on. Okay. There you go.
Amazing. All right. Well, good afternoon. I've been seeing some excellent presentations this morning. A couple I wish I had been here to see.
They've been awesome.
Something you said just recently was like, I need to catch that one. I can't remember which one you just said, but definitely we see I heard you mention short sales, and I've seen a couple more coming up in our area. Not a whole lot, because price ranges or purchase prices have gone up 6 figures here in Arizona really over the last 18 months, but I am starting to see a few trickle. So kind of excited for the opportunities that may be there for us to help some sellers.
Well, Darlene was on earlier. She says like by the end of this year, beginning of next year, we'll start seeing hopefully the downturn. What do you think about that?
Gosh, the Crumford report just came out for Arizona, and a year ago, they were trying to say it was going to be this coming fall, like October of 22, that we should see a little bit of neutralization, not the drop that happened in 08, but they have moved it to a whole nother year. So that Crumford report came out, and they're moving it to October of 23 before they expect really very much slowdown. So I know interest rates affect that, and my lender here said he's expecting to see a little bump on interest rates through the summer, but come next fall, feels like they're supposed to come back down to where they've been here really December, January, February. So.
Well, you just happen to be, Arizona is just like a super hot area. It just really is. It's like growing so fast because all these Californians are coming over, right?
Yeah, yep. California, even some out of Washington and some higher priced areas, All right. If we haven't had the chance to meet before, my name is Alice, and I am here in the Arizona market. I am a licensed agent. I've been a licensed agent since 2005, but I moved out to Arizona back in 2017 from Tennessee. So I wanted to chat a little bit with you about how you can work with real estate agents and make those connections to really power up your business and make it boom in 2022. So anybody have any idea how many licensed realtors there are across the nation? There are over 1.5 million realtors nationwide as of December 2021. Isn't that crazy? And the top 3 states by far and away have more than the other states, but Florida's got 213,000. That's the number 1 state for the most licensed real estate agents. California at 211,000 and Texas at 146,000. So I'm here in Arizona, and it's closer to the 60,000 mark. But with all of those contacts, really whatever state you're in, you should be able to make some connections, some friendships, and do some deals together this year. So there's plenty, even if there's some that don't have time for you, or maybe your personalities didn't click. Definitely there's enough to keep looking and keep talking to them. I would say that to find an investor-friendly agent that you click with, you might even talk to as many as 20. Some of them are just too busy, or they say they're going to do it and they don't, but I would encourage you to keep looking and make it happen. So really, because there's so many investors as well, it's important that we can figure out how to be the first contact when an agent has a potential deal. And as an agent, I can tell you that there's calls every week. Every week, somebody saying, I'm an investor and can you send me some deals? And I'm an investor, what do you have? I need to buy in East Valley and this price range. I'm an investor. There's tons of investors, but I don't call none of them back. I have a couple that I work with that came to me and said, here's what I can do for you if you can do this for me. So I think that it's important to see it as a give-give relationship. And when you're working leads that are not likely going to be a deal for you, definitely refer them to your agent. It looks good on you. You still provided that seller a solution, and you're also helping out your agent by doing that. The script that we use as an investor to get agents out to the property is here. It says, Mr. Seller, this looks like a property we would be interested in. We rely on our real estate agent to give us an as-is value for the property. When she comes out, she can go over our different programs. Now that might be cash offer, might be creative finance or seller finance type situations, whatever that agent has the skills to do or that you have taught them. And she can present those different programs and any other options you might have. Is Monday or Thursday better for her to stop by? So what we found is when we left it more open, where they're still like, okay, they're going to still make me the cash offer, but the realtor's just going to come out and take a look at the property, it's much easier to get that appointment set up. When we talk to sellers and we say, I don't think this is a cash deal, probably not something we're interested in, do you want to list it? The answer is always no. So in order to get that agent in the door, we like to leave it open. She's going to present all the offers. We still, give her the cash offer so she can present it to that seller as one of the options. Even if it's not going to be in the ballpark they want, that can be turned over and turned into a listing. Hey, we could get you another $30,000 if you want to, look at the possibility of listing this property, where we can get it in front of all the buyers on the MLS, blah, blah, blah. So this script has been very helpful, and it did change the amount of appointments we were able to set by leaving it more open. All right, so where else can agents help? Like I mentioned, it comes off very nice to be a full service company for your seller. And a lot of times they're wanting to sell to a cash buyer, but they still need help finding somewhere to move to. Everybody has to have a house, right? And so even when we are buying their home for cash, we still want to find out, obviously, where they're moving and do they already have assistance with that? And a lot of times we can refer those buyer leads over to our agents. So the big question that usually comes in is, can I get paid from these referrals? Licensed agents are not allowed to pay referral fees per se, but what they can do is pay you a marketing fee, just as they pay Zillow or Realtor.com for leads. For me, that fee is typically $1,000, but it's totally negotiable and something that you can discuss with that agent. And it's not a ton of money, but it's $1,000 to put back into marketing, whether it's direct mail or your dialer for your cold calls. So every little bit matters. And then when they get that big deal, that house that needs a lot of work, you're going to be the person they think about because you've been doing business with them. Does that make sense? All right, let's talk about what listings you can request your agent put you on an automated drip or an automated email for. And some of these seem very, yeah, that's easy. I already knew that, but I have one for you at the bottom that's a special one. So we like to save searches for back on market. Those are sellers that thought their property was sold, and for some reason it falls through, or maybe it falls through a couple of days before closing, and they need that property to sell in order to buy their new house. So we like to get emails of the back on market properties. We like to look at the expired listings. Maybe it's something we reach out and they're just fed up with the showings and why it didn't sell, and there's some issue because in this market it's hot, everything's selling. Pre-foreclosure and short sale, those are people that may not know their options. I think those are great opportunities for creative deals, meaning that with the right paperwork, you may be able to pay up what they're behind, if it makes sense, and take that over subject to the mortgage. So pre-foreclosure and short sale are big for us. Days on market over 60. 60 days is a really long time to be on the market here, and it means that something's an issue. Maybe they're overpriced, but maybe the house needs a lot of work. Expired listings, and then one of my favorites that most people might not have thought about is have them save a search in the areas where the dollar per square foot sold is higher with smaller square foot house and a large lot. So I have a couple rehabbers that buy from me, and what they're looking for are like 2-bedroom, 1-bath homes, or that they can add an addition to, but it's got to have a large lot and a smaller house to start with. And it can't be in an area where the cost to build doesn't have a spread from what it sells for $1 per square foot. So you might have to think about it for your city, but I would venture to say that every city has an area like this where you've got small older homes and there's room to build on that extra bedroom, master suite, bathroom, whatever it might be. So there's tons of safe searches that can be set up, and the agent can put down how often you want to get those, once a day, once a week. We get them every day, and it's just part of the morning routine to look through those properties and see if there's anything we're interested in. That's why you're still drinking your coffee in the morning. Another way that we like to set up searches so we receive the emails of new properties is to use keywords. These keywords are verbiage that are used in the remarks where it says gorgeous 4-bedroom, 3-bath house, blah, blah, blah. If any of the keywords that you have asked to for those houses to be sent to you are in the remarks, it will pull those and send it. There are hundreds of words you can use. Here's some of the more common ones: cash, TLC, foundation. If it's got a foundation or structural issue, it's not going to be able to sell to a retail buyer. So it's going to definitely be a cash buyer. Motivated, or estate, or inherited. So lots of words. It might be kind of fun to think about some you could put in there that other people might not have. So does that make sense on keyword searches? The agent will go in and say words in the public remarks and put cash or TLC or foundation or motivated, and then you'll receive those listings. All right, so this is kind of the big one in my opinion, and this is where I see a lot of people get tangled up and have some trouble. The one thing that I do not like to rely on real estate agents or anybody else is the value of the property or comping the property, because sometimes, a lot of times they can go right in, it's an automatic push a button and the MLS spits out comps. Or even on our tax record side in Arizona, it's got a comping feature. But I find that what it doesn't know how to do is look through the pictures and say, hey, this one was not really fixed up. So if it had been fixed up, maybe it would have sold for $30,000, $40,000 more. So it's pulling in comps that aren't going to be in the same condition as when a property is rehabbed. So I like to make sure that the investors that I work with, the students, and as well as myself, are able to pull those comps and make sense of them and feel solid about it before moving forward. I also think that sometimes houses can be comped with nicer properties. Agents get paid when a property sells, and yes, we are supposed to have the best interest of the client at hand, but sometimes I think that comps can be pulled from higher end neighborhoods and it not really be true to what the house is worth when you get done with that particular property. Realtors can send you comps, but I think definitely verify them. You'll want to check out the recently sold. For here, we try to do within 90 days because the market's appreciating so quickly. And check out the finishes that are used. Make sure that the property's in the same neighborhood or a similar neighborhood. And the other thing, in the super hot market, you'll want to look at the pending properties. If the prices are increasing, we have a lot of investors here that are banking on that. They know that by the time they're done with the rehab in 3 or 4 months, of the property is going to be up from where it is today. So to me, that's hard. I don't like to flip properties when I can't see the value already today, but very much it happens. There are investors that are taking that risk. And when we see the pending property selling at 20 or 30 more than the closed from 2 months ago, we go ahead and kind of put notes in there on that as well. So there are about 22 states that are non-disclosure states. And what that means is that when you go to look up the sold price of the property, it's going to have a dash or a blank. You're not going to be able to see it, not on PropStream or Zillow or anywhere else that you're looking at your recently sold. So if you're in one of those states, you're still going to need to look at those sold properties. And you may have to ask your agent to look it up and let you know what it sold for. Also, I don't find it a big deal to call the list agent and ask. I just am very straightforward. Hey, we're thinking about flipping a house in the area. It's similar to your property on 123 Main Street. May I ask what it sold for? Most of the time they'll tell you. So if you're not able to reach the list agent and you're still not knowing how to get a value for a property, what you can do is look at the price history on Zillow. And it will show you what it was listed for, as well as the date that it went pending. If it's sold or closed within 45 days, I make the assumption that it's sold at list price. You may want to do something slightly different, but for me, we make the assumption that it's sold at list price. And as long as we have, more than one comparable, we can see, hey, this sold for 200 a square foot. This was 210. This one's 206. It's going to be in this range. The issue is if you've got a comp that's 250 a square foot and everything else is at that 200 range, there's a reason that it sold for so much more. Sometimes if you start digging, you'll find out there was a casita or an ADU, like a separate residence, or maybe it had an in-ground pool, and you may have missed that. So like to get 3 comps within about $10 per square feet of each other. And you'll take the dollar per square foot and multiply it times the square feet of the house you're looking at to get the ARV, to get the value on it. So here is a picture of what it looks like on Zillow. When you scroll down below the property, you can see here this one listed December 21st at $369, which was $189 a square foot. And 6 days later, on December 27th, right after Christmas, it went pending at $369. So this is Texas. This was a Houston property. So they have blocked out the sold price, but this is where you can find the information to help you comp your properties if you're in a non-disclosure state. Or even if you're in a disclosure state, you'll actually be able to see the sold price there, see if it went over that ask price or not.
Thank you for listening to this episode of REI USA. Let these golden pieces of advice clear your path towards thriving real estate success and start making those amazing financial opportunities work for you. If you liked this episode and want to get more of these valuable secrets, be sure to subscribe to the show at www.rei-usa.com. Leave a rating too and share with your friends. Until next time.